You cannot take more choice than you are willing to give to your parents. You cannot take more moral responsibility than you are willing to give to your parents. It's impossible. Logically, it won't work. It can't happen. And what this means, logically and emotionally, is that you sit down with your parents and you say, you did me wrong. You were responsible and you did me wrong, and here's why. And if they say, well, I don't remember, well, you have to trust your own memories and your own experience. And you also have to say, was the excuse called I don't remember available to me when I was 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 years old or 12 or 14? When I was a child, was it enough for me to say, if you thought I had done wrong, I didn't remember, I don't remember, I forgot? Now, if you as a child were not allowed that excuse, but were punished anyway, because the parent remembered, well, that's interesting, isn't it? You see, let's say that you were 8, and you forgot something. You forgot what time it was, and you came home late, or you forgot you were supposed to pick up something, or you forgot about a particular rule, or you forgot. Were you allowed to say, well, I should be forgiven because I forgot, or I forgot, therefore nothing negative should occur to me? I have no responsibility because I just forgot. Well, if you weren't allowed that excuse as a child, then your parents can't be allowed that excuse as adults. If your father, when he was 30, beat you when you were 8, despite your protestations that you forgot, but then, when he's 50, says, well, I forgot about beating you, therefore no negative repercussions should occur, then what he's saying is that an 8-year-old has higher moral standards and responsibility than a 30-year-old or a 50-year-old, because you will punish the 8-year-old for, I forgot, but the 30-year-old or the 50-year-old can make that magic negative repercussion go away by saying, I forgot. You cannot have higher moral standards for children than you have for adults. No excuse that you were denied as a child can be claimed by your parents as adults. You understand? Not one. Because that is to say, well, an 8-year-old has a moral responsibility of 10, but a 30-year-old or a 50-year-old or a 60-year-old has a moral responsibility of 0 or 1 or 2. Come on. Come on. Children have less moral responsibility than adults. And so this is another thing. You cannot rationally offer any excuse to your parents that they denied to you as a child. If they punished you despite protestations of innocence as a child, then they cannot claim, as a way of getting out of what they did, protestations of innocence as an adult. I mean, they can, but you shouldn't accept it. Because if you remember it, and they claim to forget, and of course claiming to forget is a Kevin Spacey defense. I forget. No, it's not enough. So, sitting down and talking to your parents about the wrongs they did to you is important, because you need to gauge, and certainly you need to give them the opportunity to remember and to apologize and to give you the sweet relief, the sweet release of unburdening yourself. And it doesn't fix things, but it can give you some relief. Now, if they withhold from you acknowledgement of the wrongs that they did, then the abuse continues. Because if they deny the experience that you had of being abused, then they are further burdening you with unreality, with a feeling of craziness. They are refusing to take the honorable burden of admitting that they did wrong to you. And that is a continuation of the same abuse that happened as a child. Abuse gets more sophisticated as parents age, you understand. This is the great tipping point, particularly for boys, of the teenage years, right? You get into your teens, and suddenly your mom is not finger wagging down, but she's finger wagging up, right? You punch down, you nag up. That's the way it often works with moms in particular. I know, people get upset when I talk about this. I'm afraid that's why I talk about it. You're getting a massage for a sore back. You kind of want them to work the part that's sore, because that's what needs to get better. And the mom chose the father. And the mom, if these claims are true, and who'll know, she's dead, he's dead. But the mom chose the father and chose to stay with the father and chose to have children with the father. And pounded on the door when the father was about to rape the 12-year-old boy and then walked away and stayed with him. And you can see that little verbal dig at the end of her life. So the father dies. Mom calls up the son who the father raped and said, "You don't have to bother coming to the funeral." That is venomous. That is nasty. And yet, still, of course, many people will view her as a victim. And no. 100% moral agency for everyone. It's like that Oprah show. You get a car, you get free will, you get free will, everybody gets free will, because that way you can choose your future. You can plot your course, you can make it different. You have something to avoid, something to recoil from. When you place 100% moral responsibility in the category of evil on people, you recoil from them. You move away from them. Now the question is, what if they do apologize and try and make restitution? My particular perspective and opinion, this is an individual basis thing. It didn't happen with me, but I will say this, that there's a sort of rule of thumb that says you need 7 times the good for every bad. Like if you have a bad day with your wife, you need 7 good days just to kind of break even. So, if you had 20 bad years with your parents, by that rule of thumb, you'd need 140 perfect years with your parents to even it out, even if we don't count the fact that first impressions tend to be just a little bit more lasting than later ones. Restitution generally occurs when you can be made whole, right? So restitution is when you're, it's fine. Let's put it in the past, it's fine. It's not great, it's not bad. I'm at the tipping point of it's okay. So that, of course, is the question. Can restitution be provided for an abused past? Well, if your parent breaks your toy and then buys you another toy and takes you out to a restaurant that you love and says sorry, you're kind of okay. There's restitution, right? If your parent or your spouse snaps at you and it's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and figure out what happened, and you then... I had conflicts with people in my life where I'm actually happy that the conflict occurred because it gave us great progress and great knowledge, wisdom, understanding. It made us more secure that it wasn't going to happen again, and rightly so. So restitution is when you're okay. Is restitution possible for certain crimes? I don't mean should it be pursued or can it have any kind of benefit, but is it really possible? Let's say some drunk driver drives over your beloved dog. Is restitution really possible? Will anything occur where you say, "Yeah, I'm okay that happened"? Somebody beats you for 10 years in your childhood. What could they do that you say, "Yeah, I'm okay, I'm good with that now, it's fine"? It's, is restitution. This is why you don't continue to do wrong to people, because at some point you go over what you can recover from. At some point you just go right over that cliff, you go right over that waterfall, and you can't come back up. It's why you have to, when you do something wrong to someone, you kind of have to freak out and you really have to correct it right away. You walk a mile in the wrong direction, it just takes, it's just extra time to go back to the right. But if you do wrong to someone day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, decade after decade, at some point, you've passed the event horizon of restitution. Because nothing that you can do will make it okay. Let's say the father was still alive. Let's say the mother was still alive of the Spacey family. What could they do at this point? Kevin Spacey's 58, his brother is 62. What could they do after this lifetime? What could they do where the brothers would say, "Yeah, we're okay with it now. Yeah, it's evened out"? Guy didn't even have kids. Terrified because he'd misidentified the cause. So these are all of the challenges and the dangers. Forgiveness for parents, forgiveness for evil is permission for yourself. And don't do that much wrong to people when it can't be recovered from. Love, and often the future of the relationship, is dead.